Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends from Napa Valley. We're here in the heart of beautiful St. Helena, and this is another live with a great friend. He's all the way originally from old Europe. Actually, one of the oldest nations in the world as a family. They've established a second-generation business that is extremely successful. One of the most successful, in fact, in the country. And this is the Wine of the Month Club. They have an amazing destination in Pasadena, or very close to it, on Rovia. And they taste you on wine and have you join the wine club and create energy, passion, excitement, knowledge, education, and you build a great wine collection. We've been friends with Paul for many years. He's promoting a lot of our great wines. We love him as well as his family. And he decided to come and see us all the way to Napa Valley. So we could not resist to open a bottle of 69 for him. Bonjour, Paul.
Incroyable. Merci pour l'invitation. This is incredible. Well, we were here June 4th for the big Raymond
That's right.
release, the new driveway and everything.
We were so honored that you came.
That was so fun.
And Paul, to you as a friend, to your incredible success and your origin.
Thank you.
I think in the world we live in, it's important to talk about where we come from.
The family, Armenians, they found the oldest intact winery ever found. With shoes, fermentation vats, amphora, was in Armenia.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Some of us have tasted the Armenian wines, no, I'm kidding. We shouldn't say that because they actually are producing really good wine.
Yeah.
There's some interesting things. A lot of indigenous grapes. All we need them to do is bring in some French varietals.
That's it. But the endogenous, this is where the world started, Armenia.
Yeah, that's true.
So when, let's have a toast because you didn't have a drink.
Yes.
It's depressing if you don't taste it. And I hear it's 7 years of bad something.
This is my, we don't want that. This is my favorite. This Brut Rosé is one of my favorites.
Why is that?
It's the balance, the bubbles, the depth of the character. It just makes me feel like I'm going somewhere else.
Well, you always are with that jacket.
Well, look, I couldn't come to your show without a jacket. Right?
I love it.
I did too.
Well, you're always well dressed and you have a stature. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see Paul standing up, which we will at the end of the show, 6'2", large shoulder, very athletic. I typically see his muscle shining in the sunshine of California.
Yeah, that's right.
And today it's a jacket. I love it.
Every time I go to Vegas, I go to the basement at Macy's. They have the best jackets down there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then Ted Baker, of course.
Good tip. So tell us a little bit about when did your family elect to come to the United States from Armenia?
So there's a couple of paths, but all four of my grandparents are from the same village in Turkey called Aintab.
Yeah.
And one family went to Urfa in Syria. The other one ended up in Cairo, where my father's from. Mm-hmm. He came to America in 1949.
So he's Egyptian.
Yeah, he's actually Armenian, but raised in Egypt.
I love it.
He went to an Arab college, learned pharmacology, plant-based medicines.
Yeah.
And USC, my alma mater, my wife's alma mater, my kid's alma mater, gave him a job. Yeah.
I'm afraid to say I spend more time at UCLA than USC.
I'm sorry to hear that too. But
maybe I spend a lot of time at USC for other reasons.
We can do it. But I can get you in there. Don't worry.
Thank you.
So he got a job at SC opening the pharmacy on campus. And it kept him in America. So he had this huge debt to pay, in his opinion, for his life. And so I went to SC only because he said, you're going. I owe them.
Well, so this is an amazing school, one of the top schools in the country today.
But of course, the only thing I saw when we went for the tour was the pharmacy school.
Yeah.
Which wasn't my thing.
But that's a big deal. I mean, how does it feel to you? Many of our friends from all over the world with us tonight and listening to this are in many ways like you and I are, immigrants in a way, or children of immigrants, or how does it feel for you from Armenia, Turkey, Egypt?
This is what bothers me. And there was a article written about my mom's father who came to America selling watermelons on the boat. Mm-hmm. And he will tell you that the streets were paved with gold when he got here. Because why? Because he had an opportunity to do whatever he wanted.
That's it.
There were no shackles on him. He created this incredible carpet company in Hollywood, Carpet to the Stars, Santa Monica and Vine. And it was a true Horatio Alger story. He came watermelons to wealth of a certain degree. And I look at that story and say, gee, how fortunate we are to be here.
For sure.
I mean, to be able to make our own path if we want to.
Paved with gold.
Yes, up in the hills of Hollywood, telling his wife the streets are paved with gold.
And what makes America, do you think, so unique in that sense that you feel as you hear that everything is possible?
Well, this is not a political show, right?
No.
Okay, so
you say what you want.
We can get into the weeds on that
and
one, but
Paul and I can have intense discussions.
Yes.
So you only
it's
part of it.
It's the framework of what the Constitution tells us we're allowed and not allowed to do, and within that, it's kind of like raising a child.
Yeah.
You present the parameters. These are the boundaries you're not allowed to go past.
That's right.
Those are our laws, and once you can work all you want within those laws. And kids respond to that in their discipline. Okay, I get to play, do whatever I want. As long as I don't cross this line, I'm good.
That's it.
And I think America was like that when it was founded to allow us to pursue our goals or whatever we want, our dreams. That's what every man is created equal. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. And were you raised as a second generation? Because you were born here.
I was born here.
Fully
Inglewood,
American.
man. I was born in Inglewood.
Well, fabulous place. Were you raised with a little bit of the Egyptian, Armenian?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So you speak.
I don't speak Armenian very well. My wife does. My daughter, shockingly, is one of the translators at the Glendale, heart of Armenia proper, in Los Angeles. She's the translator for the Apple Store.
This is so cool.
I didn't know this. I really didn't know she spoke Armenian.
Well, I think in life what is so important is never to be afraid to claim where we come from and to be very proud of it. I mean, what makes you the most proud of coming from that incredible background?
You know what it is? It's when you, as an entrepreneur, you're allowed to test your risk tolerance.
Yes.
Which in America you get to do.
Yes.
And see what you're made of. That's what I think I'm proud of. And the Armenians are very studious people. This is not a political show, so I won't say anything politically, but it's, and
they're very sharp.
They're hard workers.
Yes.
They're very hard workers. So given those parameters in my household, my father worked. I worked at my dad's pharmacy when I was 5. I would stamp brochures, and his driver would take me to school. And it was at that pharmacy in 1959 when Eisenhower entertained Queen Elizabeth.
Really?
And he poured Eisenhower was the very first president of America to pour an American wine in the White House.
Wow.
And he poured the Krug special select in like 56 or 57.
Fantastic.
At a lunch. And then right afterwards, Johnson poured the same wine at a state dinner. And that was the beginning of American wine in the White House. Peter Mondavi didn't know this story.
And you know what we love? We love the Krug winery and obviously the Mondavi family. And Charles Krug worked at Buena Vista that we'll be tasting today.
Really?
Between 1857 to 1861. And then the Count said to him, would you want to start your own winery? Go to Napa. Here are the cuttings. Here's my press.
Wow.
Take it and go for it. And he did.
Wow.
So the press today, the small press at Krug is the press from Buena Vista originally in 1857. Yeah. But as you said, great entrepreneurship, great willingness to make a difference, great people.
Yep.
At the end of the day, great people to want to make a difference.
Hardworking people that...
So now you married an Armenian lady.
I did.
Who is beautiful and charming and great.
Yes.
So did you decide to stay within the Armenian family or it just happened?
Look, I was raised at the beach.
Or was it an arranged marriage?
Well, my mom will tell you. She will tell you that she ran into my wife's aunt in the 80s and early 80s, and they arranged this unbeknownst to me.
Yes.
But my wife was saying last night at dinner, she says, we didn't date very long. I said, yeah, that's right, we didn't.
How long did it take you?
Like 3 months.
What? To pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Be careful. Dylan is contemplating those things.
Oh, well,
you may convince him.
Cheers. Good luck. 35 years now.
That's amazing.
So
and how many children do you have?
I have 3 girls.
3 ladies. Wow.
And one is a boulanger. She was trained in Lyon at the Alain de Cassis school.
What?
Yeah, she baked in Paris for a little while. And now she's in New York and loves it.
Really?
Is a passionate, it's like winemaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You have to be very passionate for the hours and the time it takes to learn, continue to learn.
Yeah.
And so that I love following her career to see what's going on. The youngest is a student still. She's going to counsel children.
Is she at USC as well?
No,
The whole family went there.
She didn't get in.
Oh, not easy.
No, it was
a tough call.
But she ended up at University of Redlands, which was the best thing in the world for her.
For sure, it's another great school.
Her pace
and what does she study?
So she's going to be a master's in child psychology and work with kids.
She can work on you a little bit.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of work.
It's a lost cause. I think it's a lost cause.
Well, maybe we'll invite her to work on both of us. 2 children toasting on wine.
This is just something right here.
Thank you. And then the third one?
The third one is the one that works at Apple, but she just changed jobs. And because of COVID, they started a whole department in Apple where they're bringing women back into the workforce.
Very cool.
And so she's focused on bringing women out of the house after having a child.
Yeah.
Being shut in for COVID and bringing them back into the workforce. And
That's
a very rewarding job for her.
And she's doing translation in addition to...
And she translates.
But that's so clever.
This is a true story. That I went to the store and I'm talking to her, and this couple comes up with their computer in Armenian. She said, the computer's broken. And my daughter just starts in. I looked at my wife. I said, when did this happen? When did she learn this language? I had no idea.
You did not know.
I had no idea.
Wow.
It must have been a school.
Did she marry an Armenian?
No. She would marry what we call an Odar.
Yeah.
In Armenian, it's called an Odar, which is, of course, the Armenians would have a word, which is for anybody that's not Armenian, right? So that's the kind of people we are.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Great people, in any case, to all the Armenians with us tonight and the Turks and the Egyptian, because of your father as well. It's so exciting. And I believe, how do we make Americans and the world be more understanding of the history of Armenia, the history as well of the Middle East and the Orient at large?
It's a tough one.
Because people have a prism of it through the news and the conflicts we've been involved in. But I don't think they understand the amazing...
I think the war in Artsakh raised the bar a little bit for people's awareness. I have a really good friend who's Garam Bagdasarian, owns a winery called Abris.
Yeah.
And it was overrun by the Russians or by the Azerbaijanis, and they took it.
Yeah.
Took his barrels, took his fermentation tanks, took his glassware, took everything.
Tough feeling.
Yeah, unbelievable. And so we did a fundraiser for him where we sold some of his wines, and he sent all the money back to the families that were displaced by that.
That's cool.
So I think the bar was raised. You know, President Biden announced that the genocide was real. My wife and I, not sure the value of that was that. What's the value? Everybody knew it was real anyway.
Yeah.
But I think Armenians have their way of sort of working around.
For
and,
sure.
You knew I was Armenian by the name, and you saw IAN, and you thought, okay, there's a story there.
Well, I love the Armenians, dear friends, because Stephanie, if you're watching, not Stephanie Putnam, one of my first ever girlfriend was Stephanie Mavion, still a friend of mine today. She had 3 beautiful children. She's in Burgundy. So Stephanie, I hope you're there. Armenian family, and as you know, France, where I was born and raised, has a ton of Armenians. After all the events you just referred to, and Burgundy specifically, we have a lot of great Armenians, and they're always so clever in business, in entrepreneurship.
I know Lyon has a
big community.
Yeah, there's like 6 churches there.
Yeah, that's right.
There's also Bahadurian Market, very famous spice market.
That's right. Yeah. The best spices.
Oh, the best.
Well, 2 spices.
Cheers. This is the Buena Vista Chard.
Yeah. This is a vinicultural society, so this is one of the great ones. This is the Count selection, the Roussanne. So Rhone grapes, Roussanne grape variety from Bennett Valley.
Wow.
In Sonoma. So it's very special because we wanted at Buena Vista to become the kaleidoscope, the library,
get the Roussanne.
The Taj Mahal of grape varieties. We do the Chardonnay, Cabernet, red blends and all that. But we wanted to do the Roussanne, the Marsanne, the Val d'Iguet. We wanted to do all the obscure. Isn't it great?
So how does that received?
Extremely well.
Really?
We make tiny, limited quantities, as we will discuss with your great business. Maybe a few hundred cases are produced, and top end as the quality.
It's amazing. It was what's beautiful about it is it doesn't reek of the Rhone Valley. It reeks of Sonoma.
That's it.
And it's different.
How would you describe that wine?
Well, I love the balance of it. It's got, and the mouthfeel is, the weight is beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it should be weighty in a Roussanne anyway, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see all that tropical note, which is fine. That you get out of the south of France. And you have a little oak in there?
A little oak in there, yeah. Not much, but a little. Mm-hmm. Apricot to peach to white peach to evolved dry raisin, stone fruit.
For sure.
Dear friends, you're missing out. Make sure you get it, because what would you pair that with? Give us an Armenian spicy dish.
An Armenian spicy dish that would go with this. Well, they make this eggplant hors d'oeuvre. What's the name of it now? I forgot the name. It's an eggplant. It's tomato sauce and eggplant. So you get the spicy tomato sauce, so the acidity of that with the balance of the eggplants. Really, that would go great with this. They put it on crackers and who knows, maybe they put their finger in it.
Well, we hope. You eat a lot with your fingers.
Yeah.
I know you use your hand a lot, so. You see, you take an Armenian and a Frenchman. Yeah. Paul is perfectly fluent in French, dear friends. So whenever you,
I'm working at 5-7 years now.
Yeah,
my father speaks French
for sure.
So when in the 30s, when after the first genocide attempt, there became this influx of Armenians to Cairo. So in the 30s, there was quite a bit. So my sister found a video of the Armenian culture in Cairo in the 30s. And so my dad speaks Arabic. The whole thing was in Arabic. So we watched, it was English subtitles. He's listening to the Arabic. But everything on the walls was Arabic and French. So the second language of Cairo in the 30s was French.
Yeah, that's right.
During the English Protectorate, it changed to English.
That's it.
So he went to school every day. He went to Arabic class, he went to French class, and he went to English class.
That's amazing.
So he came here with this heavy English accent, but spoke Arabic, Turkish, Armenian, and French. And now he's 92. And the other day I called him up. He answers the phone in French because he sees my name. And we spoke for 15 minutes. We spoke French. I go, how do you remember this, Dad? He says, well, I learned it in high school. Yeah. I go, high school? I don't remember anything from high school. He says, yeah, but they didn't pull your hair back if you answered the question wrong. He says, they grabbed my hair and pulled my head back.
I know.
That was
so, well, that's a different era of education. But I'm so glad that you've been able to witness and feel that, so unbelievable brains of.
So important.
So why did your family establish the roots in
Palos Verdes?
Palos Verdes. Yeah. How did that happen?
He came because he came to SC.
Okay.
Directly from Cairo.
Mm-hmm.
He got passage, came to SC, got a job, kept him in America, and then wooed my mother from Armenian events. He went to an Armenian event, saw this woman who was giving a speech. Uh-huh. My mother was much like that, and kind of said, I think this is the girl. So he walked up to her after and said, I really enjoyed your speech. And then she went home and told her mom, I think I'm going to marry this man.
What?
The same day, yeah. So,
love it.
He's a good-looking guy. He's kind of an Omar Sharif type,
For sure.
Right?
But I don't think as good-looking as Paul, dear friend.
Well, I appreciate
just to
that,
let you know.
Yes. I think my wife is watching, so I appreciate that.
Well, she loved you immediately.
So
you'll tell us about that later.
Of course. After he bought this case of Krug from his friend at the Lions Club in Inglewood, nothing happened in wine in our lives. Yeah. Nothing. Until he went to go buy a pharmacy in Palos Verdes. Long story short, the guy had to sell him a liquor store with it.
What?
And there was a liquor. It was booze and ice cream.
Because liquor is part of the pharmaceutical type of suggestions, of course.
So wait a minute. His pharmacy was licensed to sell liquor and wine.
I love it.
You don't see that anymore.
God, can we buy a pharmacy so we have more liquor license?
Well, I always say you got tired of selling drugs, start selling alcohol. It's a lot better.
Hey, tell me about it.
Actually, people that came in the pharmacy are ailing and tired and, came from the doctor.
For sure.
People come in the liquor store like, hey, what do you got there? We're going to
So
party tonight.
did he ask your mother immediately to marry?
It didn't take long.
Yeah.
Like
Like you. You fast movers in the family.
Yeah, well, when we latch on, my
The
grandmother said.
Kalemkiarian clan.
Yeah.
Kalemkiarian, dear friends. So if you belong to the clan, raise your hand in the chat.
That's a tough one.
Because this is quite a clan. So now, Palos Verdes, you got established there from USC, your parents. And then, so he got in the wine business because of that license.
Yeah.
And he said, why not doing it too?
He decided, being an academic, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you.
He started to study wine. So we came up here, he came up here in 74.
Yeah.
He started studying, went to Burgundy, Champagne, Bordeaux. I mean, literally traveled to go learn, came to Napa. I still have around my office, adorning the building, wine presses and carts that we bought up here in 1974 when he dragged me up here with his station wagon. And he stopped at Sutter Home, met Bob Trincaro. Bob says, hey, I've got this pink wine here. Don't know what to do with it. What do you think? Poured it for me to talk. Warren Winiarski was a friend, stayed at my home in the 70s.
The icons of the wine world. Remembered your friends, the Judgment of Paris.
Yeah, Jim Barrett.
Yeah.
Tasted with him all the time.
Wow.
Because they lived in Palos Verdes.
Huh.
So this was a passion of his. He became very passionate about it, and with his French, and able to go to Europe and be entertained and discuss wine with them. That became the thing. And the pharmacies he sold off.
And he kept the wine business. So how did you, Paul, because you're very passionate, as dear friends, you can see, huge personality, big charisma, lots of charm. How did you get involved in wine yourself? Or how did you get that infusion of passion?
You know, there's a iconic picture on our website. It's 1975. My dad's holding a bottle of wine over the original Wine of the Month Club display that we had in the shop.
Yeah.
And I remember the day. I'm like, why am I doing this? What is going on here? I don't care, Dad. Why do we have to have a photographer? Thank God that picture was taken because it establishes who our company is. I didn't. I went to SC. I went to Xerox, a huge, great sales organization of America. Learned to work corporate America there. Left there. And
so you work at Xerox as well.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was listening yesterday, a masterclass from Howard Schultz on entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And he started in New York doing 50 calls a day, selling Xerox in office. And his biggest frustration was to say, you got a lead, the lead is hot, you have to pass it to your superior. And you never get to close.
Oh,
but it
really?
was one of the best schools, I'm sure you would echo that.
You went to school in Leesburg, Virginia twice for 2 weeks.
That's right.
8 hours a day of selling.
Yeah.
Video chat, back.
You're a born salesman yourself.
Oh, that's it. Well, that's what it is.
What makes you so good in selling?
We believe in what we sell.
That's right.
You have to.
Yeah. So believe.
You have to believe in it, and you can't give up, and you can't take no for an answer.
Dear friends,
that's the hard part.
Are we all taking notes?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Because he is the consummate salesman.
That's the hard part. But it's really believing that what you have to sell, whether it's wine, copiers, or computers, is the best in the market and absolutely going to have a benefit to the person that buys it from you. That's what has to happen. This has to make me feel something. I have to, look, when I drink a bottle of 1881, I feel something. I feel like I'm talking to Jean-Charles or to the thing. That's what it makes you feel. It has to make you feel something.
Can you touch my hand? Now we're touching. We're loving each other. 1881 is our Oakville phenomenal Napa Valley cab, American oak. Thank you for saying that. But Paul, so you in that world of Xerox and tech, and then, you say to yourself, I like wine. Maybe I want to touch in that business. Is it what happened?
My dad says, I got an offer to sell it to the South African Wine of the Month Club, which still exists today.
So the store, dear friends, is the Wine of the Month Club, and tasting rooms and great destination that you must see. As Paul said, building is surrounded with artifacts of the wine world.
Yeah, that's right. We opened the tasting room September 20th. Now we're coming up.
Yeah.
I had it completely graffitied. Now, see, you're French opulence and this is.
Well, I knew you were coming, so I had to.
This isn't Louis XIV French. This is Jean-Charles Boisset French, right?
Thank you.
So I graffitied.
Even though he's looking at you.
Yeah, there you go.
go.
So I graffitied it. I had an industrial graffiti guy, a very famous LA guy, come in and just make it look like kids came in and tagged the place and destroyed it.
I love it.
It's really industrial. It's really cool. So, no, my dad said, I'm going to sell the company. I have an offer. You might want to just check it out. So I went and worked for him for 3 months. I packed the wines. I billed the customers. This is 1987.
That's
so we
awesome.
credit cards. And I go, yeah, I think I could do this. This is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Right? And when it comes down to it, I told my wife last night, I said, we get to come to Napa. We get to meet amazing people.
You talk a lot to your wife, don't you?
Yes, we do talk a lot.
It's very
we work
impressive.
together.
I hope you...
Don't you work together?
With mine?
Yes.
I consume her with enormous pleasure. Which she allows it. Which is not that often.
Chat, wave if you agree with that. Well, we work together.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, we do.
So you build the business together.
Yeah, she's been with me 25 years.
How is it, Paul, as your wife is watching, of course, to work together as husband and wife?
Let me ask you this question. I'm going to turn the question around. Why would I put a door between our offices, which means she can walk in anytime she feels like and interrupt my conversations, or vice versa? Why would I do that?
Well, it's the same with me. Gina loves to sit on the desk.
Oh.
And just show me another side of what I don't know.
We have glass in our doors, so that our office can be seen by everybody in the office, so I can't do that. I gotta come over here and hang out and learn the real ropes about running a business like this.
But which is so cool is basically, so you said to your dad, I want to do it. So you quit Xerox and boom.
I was at the smaller company. In between,
yeah,
I had a company with 5 other guys. We had $0 to our name. We had a fishbowl full of business cards. And we finally did $1 million in sales our last year. And then my dad came to me and I said, this is too much fun. I can do this. Let's do it. And he wasn't sure yet. Then we went to a Bordeaux tasting in Los Angeles, 25 Bordeauxs. We were separated.
Yeah.
We used our own scale. We have a 3-point scale that we use.
Okay.
Along with for Parker and all these guys. We use a 3-point scale. And we got in the car and we compared the 25 wines, and there were only 2 wines that we didn't have the same score.
Wow.
And he goes, this is his story. He says, son, give me $1. And so I go, what for, Dad? He goes, give me $1. This is a ceremonial exchange at the company. And I gave him the buck in the car.
And now it's yours.
Yeah, except that after that, we negotiated the price. The $1 is strictly a ceremony.
So, that's an Armenian way of doing
exactly.
it.
That's exactly what it was. And he tells the story that I bought it for $1. I'm like, I didn't buy it for $1.
But that's so cool.
Yeah.
So give us your idea of how you score 3 points. So
okay, at the risk of my vendors who look over my shoulder, because every wine I taste goes in the computer. A 1 means never going to use it, never going to feature it. It's either way overpriced or shouldn't be in the bottle.
Okay.
Right. A 2 means, the way it's positioned now, the quality of the wine, the representation of a Sonoma Red, the representation of a Roussan from Sonoma, great.
Yeah.
I can probably make a deal on it. And 3 is, if the price gets into a range where the retail value is more commensurate with the quality, then I can make a deal.
Because you know what is so cool, dear friends, is Paul look after his fabulous club members and consumers and people who come and shop, and he wants them and all of you to have the best of the best.
We do something different than all the other sources of ratings, and that is I will take all the $20 Cabernets and all the $40 Cabernets and all the $20 Pinots. So when you take me to the market and I look at that rack, that $40 Cabernet is really worth 10.
Yeah.
And that $40 Cabernet is worth 50. Because we only compare them. If you want me to chew on the wine and do all that stuff, fine, but that's not what we do.
I love it. Action oriented. So tell us a little bit about the business, because I think what is so cool, dear friends, is you have a real entrepreneur, family business, family values, history, roots, terroir, from Armenia to Egypt to Palos Verdes to the family business.
That's fun. Family terroir.
Family terroir. I'll let you finish that last job because I know you're the sheriff. Mm-hmm. He's the sheriff in Palos Verdes as well. He's a man with a lot of authority.
We have so much fun doing this. and it's changed so much. You know, the industry has changed so much
For sure.
in the years, and the internet has helped tremendously. And COVID was an amazing spike.
Was it?
An amazing spike in sales.
Good.
And I think what happened was the consumer who was reluctant, because wine's an emotional buy.
Yeah.
Right? We buy something that we want to feel something. I'm sure you agree with me.
I always agree.
You don't sound like my wife. So
that's why her and I have a lot in common.
I want to taste something. There's something about this, and maybe you can articulate it. I have never been able to do it. I want like Dennis Prager to tell me, why do I don't feel that with a pineapple juice? I don't feel like it with flower wine. I interviewed a woman who makes wine from flowers. I only feel this connection with a glass of proper wine.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Well,
what do the monks know in Burgundy that we don't know?
Well, they knew that this was vibrational. They knew that I believe wine has energy. Wine communicates a cultural story that is second to none. There's nothing else. I mean, look, wine of Armenia, I've tried many, love them. The grape varieties are different than Burgundy or Sonoma, but they're amazing. And today, it's hard to find bad wines, and that's the beauty of it. We all make great wines. And, you know, I think you got into it into such a way that people as well love you and want to be part of what you're building. So explain to our friends how your club works and why it's so special.
Well, for one, let's start with one. How much time do I have? Okay, so
5 days, 6 days. We're beyond. We have more wine in the cellar.
We taste every single thing that is featured in our club. We've tasted it, and this came from my father. When I was 16, and he was tasting on Tuesdays. Tuesday was tasting day.
Yeah,
it's just what he did.
Between medical devices and whatever
cough syrup.
Yeah.
So I would go upstairs to the loft. I would brown bag a bunch of wines. He had the UC Davis 20-point scale sheet, and he would invite all the doctors that supported his stores to taste with him, and that's how they would start tasting. I just continued this Tuesday thing. For blind purposes, I didn't know any better. I was young, so every Tuesday for the last 35 years, at 9 o'clock in the morning they line up, and at 2 o'clock I shut down, and they bring what you got.
Wow.
They can bring me a case, 2 cases, 1 case, 2 bottles. I taste everything that comes through the door. And that's how I get my palate, right? So lo and behold, 35 years worth has turned into 100,000 wines.
That's what I heard, 100,000.
Yeah. So
how much wine do you taste on a weekly basis?
So 75 wines typically every Tuesday, 300 a month times 12 months times 30 years.
That's amazing.
Years. It's just blind volume. Right.
And you decide to taste without seeing the label, or you see?
They see the label. I just bring it in. I mean,
but it's a whole different
succeed
subject, to take it away from your mind and have your friends in mind. What do you look for in a wine?
So this tastes like a Sonoma County red. This is a red blend, right?
That's right.
So does this?
We've put the biggest amount of grape variety, Cab, Sauvignon,
the spice
Grenache.
component, the nose component, the berries, the dark fruit in this is amazing, right? So does it taste like Cabernet? Like, for instance, up until recently, Pinot Noir from Chile and Argentina just tasted like red wine. Finally now, like Patagonia and Piero Cesare in Vicenza have figured out this is how Pinot should be grown in those areas, and they start to taste like that, right? But up until then, I was just thinking. So I wouldn't feature a Pinot from Chile because it didn't taste like Pinot Noir. It should taste like the grape, right? That's what we want. So that's the main criteria: is it represent what it's supposed to be, as well as it can for the price. Everything's got a price, right?
Yeah, but you always have that in mind for your guests and customers.
Every wine we buy has to represent that.
So, Paul, tell all our friends the name of the club again and the store and how they can find you on your podcast, because you have an amazing podcast.
We having fun with that. It's wineofthemonthclub.com.
Yeah.
It's called the original. I own the federal registration. I'm trademarked.
Good for you.
As that.
Let's sound crystal to
these Baccarat glasses. Okay, I got to ask you this question before I finish the answer. This is the glasses that you've commissioned with the Baccarat Company in Baccarat, France, to make these gorgeous glasses. Now, I went to a New York tasting bar with my daughter, the Boulanger.
Yeah.
And I get these, I forgot the brand now, but they're thin, so thin that they're going to...
The Zalto.
Right? You can almost break them with your feet.
That's right. That's the issue. So, I love them too, but they're so thin and so fragile that here, listen, dear friends.
The girth of this, it's phenomenal. Okay, but this is the point. This is the question I have for you. Those thin glasses have a wonderful experience as well, even though you can break them.
Yeah.
And then there's this wonderful lead crystal that just feels in your hand. And if you go to the Baccarat bar in New York... That's
right. I was going to draw it for you, but I'll do that another.
They serve wine in this.
Yeah.
It's similar to this.
And this one, they use this one
There's something tactile about this.
That's right. And I love how you hold the diamond cut here.
It's beautiful.
How you touch it,
feels
and
good.
how you feel it, and how you sense it, and how you hold it. Because we're not necessarily supposed to touch the bulb, as we call it.
Like that.
You could warm it up if it's a cold white wine, but that's the one and only glass.
This feels so good in your hands. And the other thing that's interesting, the nose.
Yeah.
Because I like to travel from top to the bottom or left to right.
That's what your wife told me. You go in every direction. God. I said direction. There is a D in front of the letter. God. Can you see what you're doing to us? And you're going to see that's the part people will stop and rewind and stop.
Did he just say that? Yes, he did.
I did not say anything. You said.
Honey, wave on the chat thing, okay? So,
but yeah, you want to go in every direction. I got you.
And I forgot where I was at.
So
gorgeous.
So, tell us a little bit about.
So the wine talks. You asked about the podcast. Wine talks with Paul K. Now, the reason I have too much fun with it, and we're here now. I with you. This morning I was with the Duncan family at Silver Oak.
Of course.
This afternoon I'm going to be with Vanessa Conlon, your friend, the master of wine.
Of course.
And her associate Andrew Wallach at Wine Access. And I get to meet these people. And I learned so much.
So I don't consider, I love Vanessa, of course. Who would? Vanessa.
Yeah.
Austin Powers. I'm rowing, Vanessa. I'm rowing. So I'm not jealous, but you've been cheating on me for quite a few days here.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I just arrived from the old world, dear friends. So this is why Paul has an excuse.
How was Burgundy?
Amazing. Very
frost?
Inspiring. Well, we have this, of course, and 50% of the Grand Cru, Premier Cru will be gone.
50% of the Grand Cru?
Yeah.
Wow.
50 to 60% Grand Cru, Premier Cru. That's why whenever you see that list coming, go crazy and get it.
Gotta get it.
Yeah, you want to have 2018, 19, what you can in 2021, we hope for what will remain will be great, but move fast. I think that's the issue with the wine world. Paul, very trusted voice in the wine world. We love him. We do a lot together. He gets the first cut of everything we do. Well, that's key.
I tell you what,
promotes it immensely well.
I have a client, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a great client. And he asked me to come to his cellar, beautiful below ground cellar, 2,000 bottles, stuffed with first growth, second growth, and Napa cabs.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't even get the stuff you have. I said, but what you don't have is fine Burgundy.
Yeah.
So, and I set out to learn more about Burgundy. And have done, and brought him the Clos Vougeot, Domaine de Vougeot. And we you won't believe what happened. First, he says, I'll take a case right out of the chute. So his first order for me was huge for 28 bottles. Second.
Which is very rare that anybody can get a 28 bottle allocation of Clos Vougeot.
So it's in his cellar now. Now he gets to show his friends. But the next time I went, I took a bottle of one of the other.
The Clos de Vougeot Blanc or the Musigny or the Buena.
Musigny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo!
So I said, "This
Why
is
am I not invited for those
You're going to be, because this guy's becoming a huge Burgundy fan."
Yeah.
But while we were talking over the wine, this is how powerful wine is. He's a big time real estate developer, big time. And I had a project I was trying to sell. It fell out of escrow. And we're over your Clos Vougeot, the Musigny.
So do we get a piece of the real estate deal? Because we're responsible for something.
But he said, "This is so good. I'll take a case of this." And then we're talking about real estate, and I told about this project, and now he's in escrow with me on this project.
Wow!
And it was the glass of wine, it was the quality, it was the value of the wine.
Knowing, Paul, that I had something to do with it. Because of the essence of the wine, I feel better today.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not asking
I'm
for
waiting
a
to
piece
see
of
what
the
it's
deal.
going to cost me.
No, but that's exciting. So, Paul, a few more questions. I know we're keeping you from your other moments in Napa Valley.
Having fun.
You're cheating on us, but we'll get you.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. We'll come back up.
So, what inspires you?
You know, I'm inspired by the underdog.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this. You wrote that question down on our sheet, and I thought to myself, what is it? And I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Sheets meaning a piece of paper, not the bed sheets, just to make things clear.
So you know how you can write cheese names on the right? So the other day, my wife brings out the slate thing, and I wrote the names of the cheeses.
Yeah.
So I wrote CHEET, sheet. Our guests are like, what is sheet? Because it's French cheese. Don't worry about it. Anyway.
We're coming for dinner.
I'm always rooting for the underdog. I'm always looking for the kid, particularly kids. I coach a lot of kids in softball and baseball. I'm always looking for that kid that does something out of their wheelhouse, that takes the risk, that figures something out, that decides we're just going to try. And that inspires me to see.
And I could tell you were such an amazing coach. I feel it.
Oh, we have fun.
You know,
we have a lot of fun.
You know, I wish I had you at softball because I've never succeeded.
But I know nothing about soccer or football.
Well, you know, the French only knows how to use their
exactly.
legs. Whatever is below the belt typically works better than above. We're not good at basketball, not good at volleyballs, not good at anything else.
I don't think Americans are very good at that.
Well, we compliment each other. So on that note, what do you think of this one?
This is beautiful.
You never told me.
The dark fruit.
Hey, there's one secret.
Is a cranberry
here.
component?
Yeah, cranberry.
Yeah.
It's jumping at me too.
Really great.
There's one thing here, which is, as we talk about Armenian grapes, there's one original American grapes brought by the missions in the 1700s. The mission
grape is in this?
Yeah.
No, seriously?
I think we have 2%.
Okay, this is bizarre.
You feel it?
I don't know the grape that well. I've tasted a couple varietals that way.
Yeah.
But I'm just reading a book on how wine got into Los Angeles in the 1700s. And they talk about Father Junipero Serra.
That's right.
And here's the argument, okay? Here's the argument. Kind of like the drink, the Manhattan, was created for Mrs. Winston Churchill, the mother of Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
They say in 1897 at a Republican presidential campaign event. But the argument goes that she probably should have been in England birthing Mr. Churchill. So how could she possibly be in New York for this drink?
Well, maybe she was birthing Mr. Churchill in New York.
After Manhattan.
Had the Manhattan had to rush to England
After
to
Manhattan.
deliver the young man.
Right, exactly. But
And he was a small baby, so we know we couldn't notice it. Well, do you think he was born with a cigar?
So, the mission grape came across into Baja California, and they try to argue that Junipero Serra had it bundled up, but then they argue that it should have been leafing then at the time that he came, so it couldn't have been because it would have died.
Wow.
So now they're saying that it's possible that it came on a boat afterwards. He commissioned it, but that's what he planted. So you want organic wine? I mean, was that not organic back then?
Right?
Good
question. Yeah. I think it was not organic. I think it was organic. Organic to happen. So Paul.
So that's really cool that you did that. How much
well, Brian Maloney is a magical winemaker. Hello, Brian. He's incredible. And, we produce maybe 600 cases of the Sheriff. And we have it with the Sheriff.
Wow.
Because, First Mission is San Diego.
Yeah.
As you know, the Spanish Mission. Next to the Spanish Mission is the first museum of the Sheriff, where the Count of Buena Vista was the first sheriff of Southern California.
Oh, really?
So I call Mr. Patrick Egan, our vice president of marketing, who gets disturbed by me at all time. And Michelle, you cannot change that even though you're married, and who knows what hell happened. So we decided to create the Sheriff. And this is the wine with the... And I'm so excited because Brian Maloney added Petit Verdot, Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre,
what an interesting blend.
Cap Sauv, and Mission.
You don't feel that assemblage. It's so melded.
Yeah,
you don't feel the pieces.
That's it.
But where'd you get the Mission from?
We have secret sources. Too many people for us to tell you the sources.
Yeah. Okay.
But Sonoma. right around the winery, luckily.
That's gorgeous.
So, Paul, I like how you drink. Did you see that? He put his lips perfect. Can you do that profile-wise?
Yeah, sure.
So everybody could see you. Dylan, go. Did you see that? Dear friends, he's holding the glass.
But
we
you
never
know
talked about it perfectly. He's drinking. How does it feel?
But look at it. It's ethereal. But look at my nose. It has to have a glass like
Well, you have a perfect nose. He has a nose made to taste wine.
this. in this glass.
But it's great to have a great nose.
'Cause it
You know,
fits. It
you
fits.
taste wine with your nose in many ways, don't you think?
I think it's...
When I make wine, I got to tell you, my nose is probably 70% of any blend I make. Or I participate into making.
For sure.
When I taste with Stephanie, Brian, and all our winemaking team, I'm like this because that's the most powerful
I
tool.
think that the taste of the wine should only validate what your nose smells.
Agree.
And I think like some somms or waiters, when they pour the wine at the restaurant and you swirl it and you sniff it and you say that's fine, some are a little taken aback, like you're not going to taste it. I go, you don't need to taste it. You can smell whether it's good.
That's right.
Right? We already know.
That's it.
And I think that's an important part of the olfactory.
That's it.
The olfactory.
Not old factory, olfactory.
I set you up for that.
Yeah, exactly. You see, I'm the foreigner. So, Paul, you're really amazing. You know that?
Well, that's awfully kind of you to say.
No, but it's so
I think so
cool.
too, yeah.
And dear friends, we really want you to go Wine of the Month Club. It's an amazing place. .com. Go on the website. Go and watch all the podcasts of Paul. He's incredible. And Paul, what's your dream?
And there's one of yours. There's one of you, I mean.
Exactly.
We had fun that day.
Oh, don't we ever know?
He said he said he'd come in for 15 minutes. He stayed an hour.
Well,
So I got 2 podcasts out of it. You know, I'm working on something right now, and I was up here in Oakland 2 weeks ago. There's a convent in Monrovia that
I know
has
you've always
sisters.
wanted to be a sister.
I wanted to work with a sister.
Yeah, he always wanted to wear a dress, shave his legs, and become part of the
The
Chard.
old guard. But they take care of, they have a hospital, but it's empty. It's been empty for 40 years. Up here in Oakland, there's this, there's a 12-bedroom place for children with severe handicaps to go. And there's 2 reasons they go there. One is the end of their life because this handicap is going to kill them eventually. The other reason is the parents, can go to a trusted place where the parents can drop the kids off, know they're taken care of for 4, 5, 6 days. They can come to Napa, they can hang out and have a vacation because these kids are 24-hour care.
For sure.
And so I have this, it's new. I'm a philanthropic guy, but I've never had a chance to make it that kind of impact.
Sure.
And so we're trying to help the sisters maximize the value of their property, 6 acres, and produce one of these homes.
Wow.
And a lot of moving parts.
Is there rooms to plant grapes?
Yes, there is actually.
Why not?
The Monrovia Appellation,
And why not?
the AVA, it could be that
But
could
it's
be a
in
source
Oakland,
of revenue.
here in Northern California.
No, they're in Oakland. We're going to be in Monrovia.
That's so
So
cool.
we came to Oakland to see.
Because, let's never forget, Paul, the Hospice de Beaune started that way.
That's right.
And all what we've done with wine in Burgundy for many years, from Nicolas Rollin, we all remember it was in the 16th, 17th
I'm so
century.
happy you said that.
Yeah.
It really is the
It's the
inspiration
impetus.
behind the structure of how I want this thing to work.
Is that your dream?
They have 6 acres of land.
Yeah.
We only need an acre for this 12-room
That's
house.
right.
And I thought of the Hospice de Beaune.
What about if we do something? Tonight is a scoop, dear friends. Not yet a press release, but a scoop. What about if we study what can we do to help them?
Yeah.
Through, you said it, the revenue of wine.
Yeah. I think it's a...
Because wine
option.
can bring revenues if we all on it together to help them to build what they want to build.
I mean, the idea behind the hospice and the way they support themselves, back when they had patients, was through wine sales.
That's right.
Through the auction, no?
That's it.
And that is, by the way, that is a dream of mine.
160.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it on camera live. It's a dream of mine to go to the auction.
I love it. Well,
And the dinner before.
I think we can make that happen. Paul is our guest. All of you from Burgundy, be ready. The Armenian for Pas Verdes is coming. The Wine of the Month Club.
It's trouble, man. It's really trouble.
It will be, but you've seen trouble.
Yeah.
So, Paul, the last word for our friends. Look at them in the eye and tell them what's your big advise after what we've lived, who we are? What recommendation do you have for everyone being with us today? From all over the world.
You know what? No, seriously. That's a pretty deep question.
Well, we're deep people.
But
we love depth. We love to have fun, but we love depth.
I think that we don't.
Let me give you more wine before you think too much.
We need to take a risk.
Let's start again.
We need to take a risk in life.
Yeah.
You need to be outside of your box. You need to think. I have to tell you, when we were here the last time for the interview, and you were talking about what you're going to do around Raymond in the entrance, and I told Sean, I didn't think. Napa's so entrenched that whatever change. And here's this guy with this vision and these ideas, and he's willing to think out of the box and take the risk on something that's so entrenched in today's society, at least in Napa's society.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important lesson, is take the risk. Think outside your box and make things happen for yourself, because only you can do that. No one's going to do it for you. We've learned that lesson, right?
For sure.
No one is going to do it for you.
That's a great advice. And any additional thoughts on that? How do you take that risk? Because it's one thing to do, it's another. You left your life that you were living, comfortable and financially very rewarding, and you take a big risk. So any other qualifying advice you have for everyone?
Well, it's a calculated risk. It's, you certainly don't want to seek advice from friends and family. And one of the things I remember doing when I was doing other projects was I would talk to my conservative friends and say, what do you think of this? And that's the conservative view. And then I talk to the crazy guys and say, what do you think of this? And somewhere in between, there's a path to something you may want to do that you won't lose everything you ever earned, but at the same time, take a risk and be able to grow a little bit.
You measure it, but you take it.
Let's just take something simple like learning French. I sat down because I wanted to learn, and I sat with I used a lot of time that I could have been doing something else. Every hour, every night, for an hour, I would do grammar. For 5 years.
It's amazing.
Almost. And so that's not a huge risk, but the reward's been phenomenal.
Well, it's a risk in the time that it's called opportunity cost in finance. Exactly. The time invested there is not invested somewhere else.
It's such a tough line.
But now we can converse.
Yes.
Well, Paul Kalemkiarian. Did I pronounce it well? Can you give us the perfect version?
Yes. K, the rest is silent.
As we've seen
Kalemkiarian.
So, Paul, thank you for being
It's been my
all the way.
It's been my honor.
Oh, we delighted.
So fun.
In life, dear friend, I wish you do all what we're doing. Friends, building businesses together, having a great time, loving the essence of life, and respecting all of you in the future to produce something amazing.
Cheers.
And having the best friends to promote it with us.
Huge honor to be here, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Paul.
Cheers. Cheers.